Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Paramahansa Paribhajagacharya Sakharaya Smadhati Tanta Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Jaya Ananda Kori Vaishnava Ki Jaya Ramacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jaya Names of the whole Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhakti Jaya Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Giri Ki Jaya Vrindavan Dham Ki Jaya Navadvip Dham Ki Jaya Ganga Maya Ki Jai, Jamuna Maya Ki Jai, Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, all glories to the all glories to the Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for being here. Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Hare. Thank you. All glories to Sri Prabhu Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, we thank you all for being here today, as always. And today we are very, very, very much blessed. We have one of our dearest uncles, and probably great uncle to some of us, His Grace PRABHU, a direct disciple of Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada, and he has been kind enough to be with us today to help us understand a little bit about how inconvenient it is for Prabhuji to speak to us today. As we speak, wherever you may be, but it is 1:00 a.m. his time. and Prabhuji still chose to be with us. So we encourage the devotees to take that into consideration and pay very close attention to the Krishna Katha he's going to be sharing with us, because it is purely out of love. And Prabhuji, we are very much appreciative and grateful for your time with us today. And with that being said, we may put the verse on the screen and then you take it over from me. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
So we start now, or?
Yes, please, we may start.
Okay. So this is the verse, right? Srimad Bhagavatam 332.
Yes.
Okay. I got the verse out here in my laptop.
Okay, we'll also try to share it on the screen for others to see.
I see.
Yeah.
We'll chant the mantra.
Okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sandipane Chakrit Proktam Brahmaditya Savistaram Tasmai Pradat Varam Putram Mrittam Pancha Janodarat. So the word for word, Sandipane of Sandipani Muni, Sakrit, once only, Proktam, instructed, Brahma, all the Vedas, with their different branches of knowledge, Aditya, after studying, Shavistaram, in all details, Tasmai, unto him, Pradat, rewarded, Varam, benediction, Putram, his son, Ritam, who was already dead, Panchajana, the region of the departed souls, Udarat, from within. Translation. The Lord learned all the Vedas with their different branches simply by hearing them once from his teachers, Sandipani Muni, whom he rewarded by bringing back his dead son from the region of Jamaloka. Purport. No one but the Supreme Lord can become well-versed in all the branches of Vedic wisdom simply by hearing once from his teachers. Nor can anyone bring a dead body back to life after the soul has already gone to the region of Jamaraj. But Lord Krishna ventured to the planet of Jamaloka and found that the dead son of his teacher and brought him back to his father as a reward for the instruction received. The Lord is constitutionally well-versed in all the Vedas, and yet to teach by example that everyone must go to learn the Vedas from an authorized teacher and must satisfy the teacher by service and reward. He himself adopted this system. The Lord offered his services to his teacher, Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son, who had died, be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled the request. The Lord is not, therefore, an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. The devotees of the Lord, who always engage in his loving service, are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. Chakshuru Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravane Vicharine Nivishesha Shunivadi Pashatada Chitarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So here I'll try to speak as much as I know. That's one thing we should know, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and He is the most exemplary. And anything He does is for the benefit for the human society. And it says here that the Lord is so kind that He is always very pleasing to His devotees, and that He is exemplary. And even there is a photo of Krishna that when he used to wake up or very early when he was in Dwarka, and he used to meditate on himself, because he was showing an example that the Lord, He doesn't need to meditate on Himself, but He wanted us to meditate on Him, because He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So even Srila Prabhupada, before he left this world, even doing he asked his devotees, the devotees asked Prabhupada if they can film him when he was leaving his body in Vrindavan. So Srila Prabhupada himself was preaching Krishna consciousness even while he was leaving this body on the bed, death timing of leaving this body. So, and he was emphasizing that even we should wake up early morning, rise early in the morning, take bath, and go to Mangalarati, chant Hare Krishna, the program he gave us to follow. So similarly, we all have a duty to Krishna, duty to Guru, duty to the family, duty to the world. But actually our main business is to practice Krishna consciousness as Krishna himself wanted us, because that is the purpose of human life. And here Krishna, he is not obliged to do anything, because he is the source of everything. He is the Supreme Lord. But he is setting an example for the human beings. And even he went to school, Gurukul. Like I also went to Gurukul in Vrindavan, because I was brought up in the Hare Krishna movement as early as age of 6. And I myself took initiation at a very young age, at the age of 9. And this is the mercy of Prabhupada. So, of course, there is a reason for us to come to Krishna consciousness in such an early age, because that is also the mercy of the Guru, the spiritual master. So sometimes it's not we can take up Krishna consciousness as early as 6, because sometimes it is mentioned that we take up Krishna consciousness as we have left up from previous birth. Or also, it is the mercy of the spiritual master that without any cause, we are being rewarded to take up Krishna consciousness. That is the mercy of the spiritual master. So Krishna consciousness is brought to all over the world, like Africa or America or Europe. And the people may not be so pious, but because the Guru Bhakti, the mercy of the spiritual master, just is enables us, any fallen people of the world, to take up Krishna consciousness. That is the mercy of the Guru. That's why it is mentioned causeless mercy. Like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he He appeared 500 years ago in Navadip, in Nadia, in Mayapur. And he delivered this people of the world today by the mercy of Prabhupada, who is the follower of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is, and Srila Prabhupada actually said, what I have done, this has, I'm not qualified. Prabhupada was very humble, but Prabhupada said this was what he did. Bhaktivinoda Thakur could have done it, but Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so merciful that he left the service for me to do. That's what Prabhupada said. So actually Prabhupada is the chosen one by the acharyas, but he was the chosen one by Krishna to go all over the world and preach Krishna consciousness. So similarly, Krishna, he is the Supreme Person of the Godhead. He is the knower of all the knowledge. He is the source of everything. Yet, he is so merciful that he himself comes in Kali Yuga as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he spread the Hare Krishna movement. And he sent Srila Prabhupada spread the Hare Krishna movement all over the world. And we are nothing but as tools in the hand of our Guru. So any achievement that we have in this Hare Krishna movement today all over the world, this is the mercy of Prabhupada. This is the mercy of Krishna. This is the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So simply, we just have to be tools in the hands of our Guru. Everything is already done. We simply have to follow what he has given to us and humbly perform the service to our spiritual master, and everything will be rewarded. So it's not something that we can achieve by our own endeavor, but the mercy of the spiritual master, it's already been done. It's all done. We simply be part of it. Like Krishna, he has a big family like the Jaduvamsa. And so we are very fortunate to be part of the Hare Krishna movement, because this movement is a very big movement. We are part of that family of Krishna. We are part of the family of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Hare Krishna movement. So even when Prabhupada went to America, so many years ago, even at that time, the Hare Krishna movement was not as big as now. Like, it spread so many countries and so many temples. And the reporter asked Prabhupada, how many devotees do you have? How many temples? And Prabhupada said, even in this early 70s and late 60s, Prabhupada said, we have so many devotees, thousands of devotees, hundreds of temples, even at that time, because Prabhupada can vision that, because Prabhupada knew Hare Krishna movement will spread all over the world in a big way in a very short time. And you can see, as today, we have so many devotees all over the world and so many temples, and Prabhupada's books are translated into so many languages all over the world, in Africa also, in your own language. So this is the mercy of Prabhupada. This is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So what Krishna is doing here, he's bringing back the dead son of his guru, Sandipani Muni. But he can do whatever he likes. So allegorically, we can understand that we have to go a little bit further to understand this point philosophically, that the mercy of Krishna is that he's bringing all the conditioned soul back to his lotus feet. We are all dead in this material world, actually. Anyone who is bereft of Krishna consciousness is as good as dead. Like, people are, like, when you go on the street, you see people are moving around, and Prabhupada used to say they're like dead people just flapping. They may have, like peacock, they have eyes, but that's all blind. That's fake eyes on the feather. So Krishna is being the Supreme Lord, and he's setting an example by, he himself as a guru. So what does that mean? That we also must accept as a spiritual master. And that is the process of performing devotional service to Krishna. There's a system for everything, that the spiritual master is And the God, the Supreme Lord, he himself is the Guru. He is the source of all the of everything. He doesn't need to go to Gurukul to learn something, but he's setting an example that we have to follow the system. The system is that one must be initiated, one must have a spiritual master, one must learn from a guru, the ultimate teaching of the Vedas, the ultimate teachings of the scriptures. To pursue our Krishna consciousness, we have to follow the system. We have to have a spiritual master who can deliver us, who can inspire us in spiritual life. That's the system. It's not that we can just jump to any conclusion, even though we know it, but that has to be awarded to us through that system of Guru Parampara. So Lord himself, he accepted a guru, and he went to the school and he learned from Sandipani Muni, and who instructed him, even though the Lord knows everything. And actually, Sandipani Muni is mentioned here. He knows that the Lord is all powerful. That's why he asked the Lord to bring his son back to his life, because he knew that only he could do it. So he can bring his son back from dead. Who can do that? So allegorically, that's what I'm saying, that we are all dead. If we don't have spiritual knowledge, if we don't have God consciousness, if we are not enlightened by the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of Krishna and Prabhupada, we are just flapping like a dead body walking. And they even have a movie called Walking Dead, if you know already, Walking Dead. So, so we are so fortunate that we can be awakened to this spiritual life from the material consciousness. So we are awakening our consciousness from material consciousness. This is a very important to understand what we are doing in spiritual life, why we accept the Krishna consciousness, why we joined the Hare Krishna movement, why we accepted Guru, what is the purpose of human life. This is all awakening. We're awakening our consciousness, awakening to our original consciousness, our original position, to be with Krishna, to go to our real home. This process is allowing us to, by the mercy of Krishna, by the mercy of Prabhupada. So it's handed down to us from Krishna, from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, from Prabhupada, to us today, to spread this Hare Krishna movement, spread this knowledge to the conditioned souls all over the world. And I'm here at just 1:20 right now here in Melbourne. But actually the soul is not, we have to wake up as early as 1 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock. But ultimately we need to wake up to our reality anytime, day or night. So we may be asleep even when we're walking and walking dead. So we may be walking, but they're asleep because they don't have spiritual knowledge. So this is the underlying principle of Bhakti Yoga, of the teachings of Krishna, that we have to wake up and practice Bhakti Yoga. And this is what I said in the beginning. The Srila Prabhupada, even when he was leaving his body, he emphasized that wake up or rise early in the morning, take a shower, and go to the temple. And you can see that even if I've lived in Vrindavan when I was in the Gurukul in the 1979 to mid-80s. And I used to see, some of these Indian ladies, very early, they would go to Yamuna and take bath and in the sari, and then they walk back to their home in the wet sari, and then they would go to the temple as very, very early. And sometimes Vrindavan gets really cold. And so they're performing their duty. They know this is the ultimate dharma of the living entity, to perform service to Krishna. That is the purpose of human life. And everyone have a duty to perform in human life, duty to family, duty to the country, so many different duties. But the ultimate duty is duty to Krishna, service to Krishna, service to Guru, because we are not going to be here forever. So we have to practice what is the most liberating process is this process of bhakti yoga and practicing of Krishna consciousness. So we have to learn that Krishna ultimately will deliver us. He will bless us. He will give his mercy. The spiritual master will deliver us, will bless us, will give whatever we need. But the ultimate need of human life is the need of spiritual knowledge. The food, just like we need food. We have breakfast, lunch, dinner. So our real food is that dharma, the knowledge that people are lacking. Like in Africa or anywhere in the world, we have food for life, because sometimes people say, you people simply chanting Hare Krishna, you're practicing dharma, but what are you actually doing for people? Are you helping people, giving any food, charity? And we are doing that. You can eat food, but then in an hour or 2 or 3 hours, whatever, you will be hungry again. So materially speaking, people are not satisfied. Even having whatever you need, these things will not really satisfy us. Material things will not satisfy us. Really, only thing that really can satisfy the soul is our practices to serving Krishna, because Krishna can give us that satisfaction from within, satisfaction of the soul. So the body, materially, is a physical body. It only gives us material satisfaction, temporary. But the real satisfaction is when we can actually satisfy the spirit soul. And that can only be done when we are doing paradharma, the principles of dharma, religious principles of serving Krishna, awakening to the soul. So this process is awakening to the soul, like we are all encased in a bird, like a bird encased. And so people in the world are simply taking care of the body, but they're forgetting to feed the bird within the cage. And that is the whole process of why Krishna explained in the Bhagavad Gita to practice the bhakti yoga. He emphasizes understanding spiritual principles, understanding we're not this body, we are the spirit soul. So this knowledge is what awakens us. This knowledge is what satisfies the soul. This knowledge is what gives the real benefit, the spiritual benefit, that material things, no matter how well we are in the material world, still these things will not satisfy us. As you can see in the world today, there's so many wars going on, and there is so much dissatisfaction in the world right now. Even though there's so much modern technology, yet people are not happy because they have no knowledge. There's war, there is widespread of dissatisfaction among the human society because they're not practicing to understand who they are in connection to Krishna. So therefore, here says here, the Lord offered his service to his teacher Sandipani Muni, and the Muni, knowing the power of the Lord, asked something which was impossible, Lord, impossible to be done by anyone else. The teacher asked that his beloved son who died be brought back to him, and the Lord fulfilled the request. The Lord is not therefore an ingrate to anyone who renders him some sort of service. The devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march of devotional service. So we know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he can do anything. And the devotees of the Lord, we are serving Krishna with this attitude, with humble attitude, loving service. And the devotees of the Lord are never unhappy. They can live in any condition because we know that Krishna is there to protect us. Krishna is there to give us all the guidance. We are completely satisfied simply chanting Hare Krishna. We don't need anything else. And you can see when Srila Prabhupada was in America, he didn't have anything. He was sitting under the tree and chanting Hare Krishna. And all these American people, they came and joined Prabhupada because Prabhupada was doing what his Guru Maharaj told him to do. He didn't have to leave Vrindavan. And Prabhupada said, I had everything I need. I had all Vrindavan with me in Vrindavan. We know the history from of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada left all that. He went to America because his Guru wanted him to go. Because he knew what pleases Krishna is service to Krishna, is service to Guru. So this we have to understand that, but we have to serve Krishna happily. And happily means what Krishna says, Sushukam Katamapayam. He says that my devotees perform service to me happily because they're completely satisfied. They don't want anything because they're satisfied serving me. And the devotees of the Lord who always engage in his loving service are never to be disappointed in the progressive march devotional service. So everything we do, we have to understand back of the service is that we must be, that if this actually my service is pleasing to Krishna, is this pleasing to Guru? So we have to understand, underline, why am I doing it? Is this will make my spiritual master happy? Is this will make devotees happy? Whatever we do, and do with that consciousness of pleasing the Lord. And everything will follow by that. And that requires humility to give up our own desire to satisfy ourselves. That attitude that of serving Krishna and the Guru and the Vaishnavas in a humble attitude, humble approach, and humble service attitude, that Krishna will be satisfied. I'm doing this to please my Guru. I'm doing this to please Krishna. Then, knowledge itself at the same time will also enlighten us, will give us that understanding why we're doing it. And in this way, we're not doing it blind following. We have to know why we're doing it. But even if somebody chant Hare Krishna, they didn't know that this is the ultimate Hare Krishna mantra. If they chant it, if they do some service unknowingly, there is, they'll be spiritually ultimately benefited. But at least at the same time, we have to read Prabhupada books. We have to know why we're doing it, and that the benefit is even more progressive, like it says here. So there's many things we can understand through this purport of the Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. We can maybe take questions and discuss a bit on this topic what I spoke a little bit for the last half an hour.
Krishna, thank you so much, our dear uncle, His Grace Prabhu. I was trying to introduce you to a few more devotees, and I very well remember when you shared with us some time ago how early you were when you took a decision. But I got it wrong. I was thinking it was 12 years. But now I'm learning it's 9 years. You were 9 years old when Srila Prabhupada so mercifully blessed you with his initiation, which is very rare. So we are very, very grateful to have the association. And dear devotees, if anyone may have questions, comments, realizations you may want to share or ask, please indicate by using the hand emoji, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak or share your realizations or ask your questions. Hare Krishna. Yeah, probably like you were saying, it's very, very exemplary of Shri Krishna to have gone to school and study under a mortal being, Sandipani Muni, or say Jiva Atma. So Lord Krishna is teaching us by example that we should all go to a teacher and learn the scriptures from him. But my question is, what happens to us as students when our teacher asks us to render a service that we are unable to render? Like in the case of Sandipani Muni, he asked Krishna to bring his dead son back to life, which was a service that his guru had requested. But being Krishna, he was able to do it. I do not think my spiritual master is going to ask me to bring his dead son back to life, but my spiritual master asking me to render a service that I'm unable to render. Will that be an offense, or what do we do in such a situation? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, we also know what he's capable. So he knew, Sandipani knew actually he's a Supreme Lord, and he is capable of bringing the son back. And, you know, the spiritual master is not his job to bring the dead son back, and that's one thing. But Krishna, he is the Supreme, so he's also doing two things when he was here. So, and Sandipani Muni knew that he is the Supreme Lord, he is the source of everything, and he is capable of bringing the dead son back. But we are not going to ask our spiritual master, because we know what he is capable. But he is giving us the ultimate process to bring us back to Godhead. And Prabhupada said, he said, I could do what you cannot do. People do magics and people do all kinds of things. But Prabhupada said, I can make these people give up meat eating, intoxication, gambling, sex, following the four principles. And people are not able to do, but Prabhupada made them do it. So what Prabhupada made us do, what Prabhupada did, ordinary people cannot do it. And bringing us back to Godhead, that who can do that except a bona fide spiritual master? So never estimate the power of the Guru. Now, even maybe Prabhupada could have done brought the dead people back, but he didn't do it because people will take it very cheaply. People may say, they may take initiation to ask Prabhupada to bring back, their dead one. That is not the purpose. Prabhupada didn't introduce that. Maybe he could do it, but he didn't do it because he didn't want people to think that Prabhupada went to America to bring back their dead people back. But at the same time, Krishna, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He could do it. And particularly Sandipani Muni asked him to do that. Not everyone is going to ask Krishna to do that. That was his special request. And like I said, Sandipani Muni knew he is Bhagavan. He can bring that dead son back. And ordinarily, even we read from the scriptures elsewhere that one of the great Acharya, he brought the dead son back. And not dead son, one of the dead person back, he was chanting the name of Lord Ram. And to prove that he's a great devotee, because the people of the village in India, they asked, he was a great devotee of Lord Ram. And they said, if you are such a great devotee of Ram, let's see if we can bring back the dead person back. And he asked Lord Ram to spread Krishna consciousness to everyone, to follow his instruction. Please bring back the dead ones back from the family members. And he was chanting Lord Ram very sincerely, and dead person came back. there's a history in India. So, but that is a special case to do that. But the spiritual master, he's not business is to, like I said, to bring anyone dead person back, but he's taking us back to Godhead. He's giving us the spiritual life. But Krishna has two things. He can bring someone back if he wants to, if the disciple asks Krishna. And he is Bhagavan. And Krishna, when he was on the planet, he also did very extraordinary activities like lifting the hill, Govardhan Hill. And he also did many other extraordinary pastimes when he was in the planet. So we can follow the instruction of Krishna, but we should not do what he could do it. So we could follow the instruction of the Supreme Lord, take it to our heart, but we can imitate Krishna. So the spiritual masters also, they know that that they could do things, extraordinary things, but they don't want us to do things that what Krishna did. They simply want us to follow Krishna's instructions. So there's two things we have to understand, that our duty to Krishna is to follow his instruction. And the way to follow the instruction is to follow the instruction of the spiritual master. If we ask the spiritual master to do something like what Krishna did, he may say the same thing. Only Krishna can do it. We cannot bring the dead back because he has that power. So the spiritual master's job is to bring us back to Godhead. But if we are Bhagavan, we can also bring the soul back from the dead. So we have to understand what is our position as the guru. The guru is teaching us through his knowledge. The knowledge is, he is heavy with knowledge. That's what guru means. But he, at the same time, he's delivering us from the material world to bring us back to Godhead. That is the ultimate service that any human cannot do it. But bringing back the dead, that is not the that is not Srila Prabhupada. That's not his job to do it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rabiji. Thank you for the answer. But the other part to my question, what Srila Prabhupada beautifully explains in the purport, when he was talking about Krishna bringing back the dead son of his guru, Sandipan Muni. Srila Prabhupada is saying that this is just to tell the world that Shri Krishna is not ingrate, is not like ungrateful to whatever little service that is done for his pleasure. Now, but we see in the lives of devotees, sometimes one may not even find any difference between those who worship Krishna and those who do not worship Krishna. Whatever is happening to those who do not worship Krishna or those who do not worship God in any form or approach, and those who worship God in some way or form, you hardly see any difference. The devotees are dying, the non-devotees are dying, the devotees are fallen sick, the non-devotees are fallen sick, the devotees are poor, the non-devotees are poor, and even sometimes the devotees are actually more poor than those who are not devotees. And sometimes the devotees may cry to Krishna for a particular help. Of course, the devotees most of the time do not pray for getting this or getting that from the Lord, but sometimes devotees pray to Krishna. And Sometimes they pray, but they do not see any results from Krishna. What do we say to that?
Yeah, the thing is, you have to understand, even if people are not different, people are in different situations. Of course, you have to understand there's also karma, behind that they're put into different situations, and at the same time, you see, devotees' life. It's not they want something material from Krishna. They're happy in a situation what Krishna put them. So you see, the Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis, they were born in a very rich family, but at the same time, they understood that these things are only a temporary thing, material situation. They were crazy to be Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They left behind all this opulent life. They were very, very opulent. They gave up, and they were living in Vrindavan like a Goswamis means they wear very little cloth, but because they're satisfied in writing books about Krishna, they're satisfied serving Krishna. You see the life of the Pandavas. They were Krishna's associate, personal associate, and yet they were homeless. That was all about the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Krishna wanted them to have a land. So there was a war between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, who is led by Duryodhana and his Dhritarashtra, who refused to give a little bit of land to Pandavas. Krishna wanted them to have a little bit of land. So Krishna is always thinking for his devotees. And Krishna's not, he's partial. He is aloof from all these things. Yet he personally wants to take care of his devotees. And you can see life of all the devotees. Even in ISKCON today, we have people come from so many backgrounds, but they're totally satisfied having prasadam, living a lavish life. Krishna is rewarded. You see, go to Vrindavan, all the places in India, wherever. ISKCON's made people very, well off. And materially speaking, even people born in America doesn't mean they are rich. Materially speaking, many of them were poor. They were just going around like a hippie. The hippie movement. Prabhupada said, "I come to America to make people happy. I didn't come here to make people rich." Now, what is rich? Wealth is real wealth of a devotee is God consciousness. The people have material things, but you can see they're suicidal. People are not happy, even with all those material wealth. So real wealth is bhakti yoga. Real wealth is knowledge. Real wealth is guru bhakti, love for Krishna, love for guru. So you can have material things, but we have to understand material things will not satisfy us. Because why people are running to, why looking for God? Because they know with all the material wealth in the world, people still, there's dissatisfaction because they're missing that God consciousness. That's why devotees are totally satisfied with chanting Hare Krishna. We chant Hare Krishna, what do you get out of it? By chanting Hare Krishna. But because that ultimate happiness is there in the holy name. Krishna is there in the name. So you're associating with God. So we can live on the side of the road. And that's what the Goswamis, they're living under the tree. And they discuss about spiritual life. They wrote so many books because they know that so sometimes we know physically, I know that there's no difference between karmi or devotee. They die, we die. But they don't understand that we are in the hands of the Lord. We are in the hands of Krishna. So whatever happens to a devotee, seemingly it looks like same as the non-devotee. We suffer, but they suffer. Devotees die from cancer. But Krishna is taking their life back to Godhead. We don't have to take another birth here. So we don't know what they're heading to, these people. They live by their karma. They die, again they have to take birth. But Krishna, devotee's life this is the last life. This is the last birth. When devotees die, they go back to Godhead. Never to, like I said before, walking dead. So they may be live, but they don't have God consciousness. But we have Krishna. So devotees may not have materially. So this is a material consciousness, to see things in a material way, the devotee is suffering. But Srila Prabhupada, you see, towards the end, he was not well, but he's not like an ordinary man. He was completely aware of Krishna. Even at the time of death, he was preaching Krishna consciousness. He's fully conscious. You see Jayapataka Maharaj, he is in the wheelchair for more than 10 years, but he is awake as a young boy. His consciousness, he's preaching Krishna consciousness like anything, even from the wheelchair. We are sick, we go to the hospital and we take a break, and we are in a situation where totally nursing home, but he's not giving up. Jayapataka Maharaj is not giving up. He's fully going ahead in serving Krishna. So seemingly he look like he is like ordinary. No, he is going ahead preaching Krishna consciousness full speed from a wheelchair. Doesn't matter what situation he is. Spiritually, he is totally awake. So it's not the same as the materialistic people. Materialistic people, they don't understand. They think this death is everything. They die and that's it. But we know that death is not everything, because it's simply the body is interacting from all the suffering, but the soul is pure is very pure. The soul is not affected by it. But people who are not spiritually awakened, they will be they simply don't have the knowledge that they act on the material platform. So there is a difference, big difference. The difference is that these devotees of Krishna, they are fully the learned. They have well off because they have Krishna. Like the Pandavas, like I said, they had nothing. They're living in the forest, but they had everything because they had Krishna. So if you have Krishna, you have everything. And at the end, they're victorious. All the Kauravas died, and they lived because they had Krishna. And Krishna himself said, wherever I am, there's going to be victory. There's going to be wealth. There's going to be all opulence, because we end up with that. And Srila Prabhupada is the example of that. He lost everything. When his Guru Maharaj asked him, he had a business, he lost, his everything was failing, because this was the mercy of Krishna, that he's taking everything away, because Krishna has better things to give him, higher things. And seemingly Prabhupada had nothing. But you can see the Hare Krishna movement today. Prabhupada is the richest than anyone because he has Krishna. So sometimes we are put into a situation, we have a lot of suffering, but we need to concentrate on Krishna in the midst of the suffering. That's the test. Just like materialistic people or devotee, we all have lust and material desires, but we don't contemplate on it. We don't have time for material things. We observe in Krishna. Whereas non-devotee, they freak out. Oh, what's going to happen? But you see, the devotees, they go to Vrindavan and they leave their body. They don't care. We're not scared because we know Krishna comes at death. Even disease is a way for us to understand the material body is disease, but the soul is pure as pure, eternal. It doesn't suffer. So if we have to understand through knowledge. We are in a different platform, not like the materialistic people. But if you don't have knowledge, we will compare to be the same. But you have to understand there is a difference, devotee and a non-devotee. They're a different platform, spiritual platform. They're a material platform. And when I hankering, even suffering, when I'm hankering, it's just the body suffering. But you have to be strong to understand that. If you're not strong, we'll be victim by material consciousness. You have to be very strong, taking shelter of Krishna, holding on to the lotus feet of Krishna, Otherwise, we become victim of suffering. We have to go beyond a material platform to a spiritual platform.
Well, thank you so much for the elaborate answer to my question, Prabhuji. And thank you for reminding us that even though things that do happen to non-devotees and devotees may look the same, they are never the same, because devotees' lives are in the hands of Shri Krishna. And
Yes.
talking about His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, our spiritual master, our mentor for this zone, West Africa, His Holiness Kavichandra Swami Maharaj, who is your god brother. He sometimes addresses His Holiness Jayapataka Maharaj as the divine magician, because what Maharaj is going through physically, and yet rendering such wonderful, beautiful devotional service is it cannot be understood. But he's doing it, and he's giving us the exemplary act, like you rightly said about Krishna being an exemplary. So we are sinful, but we are all praying to Guru and Krishna that our spiritual mentors be relieved of these physical troubles they go through. I think we have Madhuvan Prabhu. You had your hand up. Prabhu, you may unmute. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. All glory to your little feet, Prabhuji. All grace unto the of Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for being there for us. We are very happy, delighted to see you. Thank you. Please, today, I want us to look at the 11th mantra in the Upanishad. The 11th mantra, we stated that only one who can learn the process of nature and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessing of immortality. So my question now is, two knowledge is mentioned here. First, the process of nature, then transcendental knowledge also. So they are mentioning two knowledge in this statement. So when you now mention Gurukula, I believe from there one gets that transcendental knowledge. My question now is, where do you get that process of nature? Where do you get the knowledge of nature? And I believe that's the normal knowledge. If you want to be an engineer or doctor or whatever, so that you can take care of your material needs. So please, I want you to explain this situation to us.
Okay.
Because, thank you.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Haribol Prabhu. Other Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Can you explain to me a little bit the question?
Okay. Yeah. He made reference to Sri Upanishad Mantra 11, where Krishna states that one should be able to learn nescience and transcendence. In other words, one should be able to learn material knowledge and spiritual knowledge side by side. And when one is able to do that, then one may transcend the material nature. But his question is that, like your humble self, you indicated you attended Gurukul. Like Gurukul teaches transcendence. So if the students in Gurukul are taught transcendence without the nations, which is like the material knowledge, how beneficial are they going to be getting? His audio was low, so you could hear him well.
Okay, I get it. So thing is, the material knowledge or nations can offer one some understanding of the material world, but that is not the ultimate understanding. What is lacking is spiritual understanding, which we got in the Gurukul. But in the Gurukul, they also teach, nowadays we have some, according to the Western standard, they teach according to, so they don't miss out. They learn the academic, Western academic. But at the same time, devotees is aware of everything. So even people who are like all of the ISKCON people, Western people, for example, not only Indian or African, anywhere, Europeans, Americans, they had material education. This was my point, but they're not happy. They still want something more. And that's what Prabhupada gave, the spiritual teachings. So even with all the material teachings, with all the material academics, with all the material understanding of the schooling and universities, people are still not happy. They're just academic to earn money, so economic development, that's all. But people need more than that. That more than that is spiritual education. So one can know side by side, material and spiritual, also to give us an idea of what the material world is. So we have a better understanding. But you can still skip that. You can just be having spiritual knowledge, because that is enough to give us total happiness, what we want ultimately. So it's not necessarily one need to have material knowledge at the same time. We can liberate us through spiritual knowledge. But material knowledge is not absolute knowledge. But if you have material world, most people will be married, they need to have family, they need to earn, this, so you have to have a job. It requires some material education. But ultimately underneath, we know that the real knowledge for a devotee is spiritual knowledge. So you can know side by side some material things, but that is only for livelihood. But in the spiritual teachings, everything is there, even material knowledge. Because so you can know about the body, but without spiritual knowledge, you'll only know the body, but you won't know what is the soul. So the body is moving, it's simply a cover. Like I gave the example of the bird in the cage. So material knowledge simply teaches of the cage, but they forget the cage. We are encaged in the body. The soul is encaged in the body. The body is only covered. So it has to have both knowledge and not just the body. You have to know what is the body in connection to the soul. What is the soul? What is the consciousness? How it is moving? So there's various. The spiritual teachings is complete. Material teachings is incomplete. It only teaches the material body. But if you can, as a devotee, you will have a better understanding, even material things. So without material things, you will not have more deeper understanding. You will only know the material knowledge, material body. So spiritual knowledge teaches us both. So that's why Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you read chapter 2, he says the body is only like a shirt, and you change the body and you put in a new shirt. But the soul will live on, is eternal, Sanatan. It's eternal entity. It cannot be cut or touched, or you can see with the naked eye the quality of the soul. So simply knowing the shirt is not enough. You have to know you're covering the body with it. Is to warm your body, is to dress the body, but the dress is not the ultimate thing. It's the body. So the body is only like the shirt. The real understanding is there's the soul within the body. So that's why side by side one can know, but more importantly, the spiritual teachings, not just the material teachings. Material teaching on its own, material knowledge on its own, it's only partial understanding. It's not complete. You have to have both. But even without material, one can still know simply by knowing spiritual teachings. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, all the teachings will automatically reveal itself. If you study the scriptures, Krishna from within will reveal everything we need to know. So if you chant Hare Krishna, how much do you know by chanting Hare Krishna? But don't worry about that. Chant Hare Krishna, Krishna will reveal to you. But sometimes we are very anxious. We want to know so many things. Prabhupada's given us enough books. Still people want to read so many other books. That is the problem we are in the material world. We think it's not enough what Krishna gave us. The grass, the cow is thinking, even they're standing on the grass, they're still thinking the grass on the other side is better, more greener. So we're always looking, but we have to look for the ultimate happiness. That is to be found simply by chanting Hare Krishna. How well are we chanting Hare Krishna? And sometimes children, they say, I done 16 rounds. But how well they chanted. Hare Krishna, finish. I've done 16 rounds. Are we actually concentrating on the holy name? So if we do it with sincerity, with such love, then we'll see the difference. It's not simply chanting, but we have to pay attention to this holy name. Then from within, it will reveal all the things we want to know, even material things. Srila Prabhupada didn't go to America to open a school, university. In fact, all those people from university, young people, when they're 20s and 18, 16, they joined because they're dissatisfied. They had everything material. They gave up. The Goswamis, they had everything. Because the material things will not give us everything we need in life. We want spiritual things. Material things are sustained by spiritual energy. Material energy itself is powerless without spiritual energy. Like the body. The body is dead without the soul. It's dead from beginning. When you're born, the body is already dead. It's only because it's moving only because of the presence of the soul. The soul is the eternal entity. It is giving the life, the Atma, like that. Okay?
Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Madhava Prabhu, are you okay with the answer?
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Not 100%.
Okay.
Not 100%.
Okay.
Not 100%.
Thank you so much. Like Prabhuji was explaining, I remember reading that actually when Krishna studied under his spiritual masters and Muni, he also studied so many like material subjects. Like he studied logic, he studied how to argue, how to debate. It's all part of the Gurukul lessons. So but it's all to be dovetailed in the service of Krishna. So, well,
yes,
thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, when I was in the Gurukul, that was way back in the 70s. We didn't have most emphasizing on the spiritual time. When Prabhupada was here, the emphasis was very much on spiritual life. And Prabhupada was very straight. He didn't want us to get too involved in material things. We learned slokas from Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, emphasize on chanting our rounds and preaching. We are learned to become a preacher. When you come out of the school, we'll be a preacher, sannyasis, traveling, preaching, monks. He didn't ask us to become, first-class materialistic people. And this is what the teachings of Prahlad Maharaj. He saw his father, Hiranyakashipu, wanted him to become a materialistic person, learn material knowledge, economic development, a family man. But Prahlad Maharaj said, we have to practice spiritual life from young age. We don't have time for those things. Life is short. So he was very strict about that. But at the same time, Prabhupada had the 4 ashrams, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Banapasa, Sannyas. In fact, in our movement today, all the brahmacharis are new. They're 90% or more are grihasthas. So they need money, they need home. Also, it's not like we are saying, live on the side of the road and chant Hare Krishna, like the Goswamis. We also have families. In fact, our temples we need a lot of funds to run our temple, have festivals. We need money.
Yeah.
And Krishna is providing. But Krishna doesn't need these things. But we need these things for the purpose of preaching. Yeah. So if we, on the side of the road, people will not come. So Prabhupada have these big temples. In India, we have the TOVP. What is the need? Krishna is living in a hut. He went to the house of Vidura. He didn't go to Duryodhana's house to take lunch. So he's impressed by the devotion of his devotee. He doesn't need a big temple. But the purpose of preaching, we have these things so we can bring people to Krishna. So as for ourselves, we are detached. We can live in the hut. But then people they need some facility. Yeah. But after some time, we know these things are temporary. We are only here. Our real emphasis is not how much food we eat, how fancy prasadam is. We accept what Krishna has given us, even if simple, a little bit, rice and dal. We don't need pizza and all these things. But for preaching, people need. So like this. So we had teachings in the Gurukul, but I didn't get a certificate to get a job outside. So many of my friends, they had to go out of Gurukul and get a job because they have a family. But even, like I said, they get a job only for some extra knowledge so they can have a job. But without spiritual knowledge, they will be finished. Yeah. So we had to depend on the spiritual life. So material things will come, but you have to have a spiritual life. Without spiritual life, material life, it's suicidal. It's a karmic life. There's nothing else there without Krishna. Without God, the material world is vacant. You see today, all world people have no knowledge. There's war. They're fighting with each other. There's no santi. There's no peace because everything's based on body. They're barking at each other like animals because the devotees are peaceful because we know Krishna is behind. We are not worried what situation we are in. We are happy serving Krishna. And we'll be victorious. Krishna will provide whatever we need materially. We don't have to worry. There's so much we can talk about this.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Prabhuji. And I believe all the assembled devotees will agree with me that we are very much grateful for your time, especially such an odd time in this material world, 1 o'clock, to be up and speaking Krishna Katha to people all over the world around this time. We are very much appreciative, and
thank you.
We pray that Sri Guru and Krishna bless you to do more and more, and hopefully next time it might be a better time for you.
That's okay. I mean, if it's time to time, mind doing it. It's okay. I like it.
Thank you so much.
I was just in Fiji, a country near 5 hours flight from here. And there's a country called Fiji. I just came from there day before yesterday. We had a festival, 10-day festival in Fiji. We had devotees from America, Europe, about 200 devotees with Vedavyas Maharaj and another Maharaj, senior people from New Zealand. I was there. And I just came back 2 days ago. So it's a very beautiful place, like very tropical and ocean. And so there's Krishna consciousness going around all over the world. We are so lucky to have spiritual life. I'm so happy to be able to talk about Krishna online from Africa and from here. So that's just amazing. Like when Krishna Katha was spoken by the Bhagavatam was spoken by Shukadev Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj thousands of years ago, and we're discussing these things right now online through you're in Africa, I'm here. That's how amazing. How fortunate we are to be able to discuss about Krishna, Bhagavatam topics that Sukadev Goswami spoke online. You are so far away from here. This is just the mercy of Prabhupada. This is the mercy. So we can use the technology to spread Krishna consciousness. So this is also part of the topic we're talking. So you have the material things. If you're not using Krishna service, the people talking family talk, nonsense and stuff. This is the way you can purify the all the technology, all the machines, and all the material things.
Well, thank you so much. This is like a big agenda security. Whoever invented this Zoom program must be benefiting so much because the devotees are using his services for spreading Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, be benefited.
Yeah. Devotees, does anyone have something to ask or share before we bring this to a close today? Well, okay. Dr. Hassan, please give me a mute.
Oh, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I said to my humble respect obeisances, all glory to Gurudev,
Hare Krishna.
all glory to Prabhupada, and all glories to you. Thank you so much for the wonderful class. I came a little bit late, but I really enjoy it. But I want to use this opportunity to ask this question.
Okay.
Me particularly, I used to say that the pandemic was the best days of my life.
Mm-hmm.
I used to say this because when I started following the Krishna consciousness, I was having a books which I was not reading.
Mm-hmm.
And when the lockdown came, I was home and we cannot even go out. So I'm able to read some books, and especially the story about Srila Prabhupada. The whole book, I was able to read it. And I get a lot of realization.
Okay.
So it really helped me to know more about Krishna consciousness and the sacrifice Srila Prabhupada did.
Right.
And during the Russia-Ukraine war in Barcelona, in my holidays, I used to go and sleep there. And even Mangarati, we are like 3 people over there. And it was very, very embarrassed. And there was no Harinam going on. But when the Russia-Ukraine war started, the Russians and Ukraine, when they came to Barcelona, till now, every day they are doing Harinam. And me particularly, I enjoy Harinam so much. That is where I dance. I'm a very shy person, but when Kirtan or Harinam is going on, I dance a lot.
Yeah.
And till now, these Russians and Ukrainians are making the Barcelona temple more lively. So my question is, can we consider war and the pandemic always a bad thing or punishment for us? This is my question. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Yeah, the thing is, Krishna creates, or according to our karma also, there's various situations we are put in. But if we can understand through knowledge that whatever situation that we are put into, if that situation can make us Krishna conscious, that will be very ideal. So we have to go, if someone who is sincere to search for spiritual life, they want to know more about God, so they can learn from any situations. So it's not that we don't want to put into war situation or pandemic to learn something spiritual. That is not the way. But if by chance or by karma we are put into certain situations, as a devotee, we can learn from that something more about life, about if it can bring us closer to God through knowledge, that it becomes ideal, because there we are always searching for spiritual life. For such people, any situation they put in, they will learn something from it. But that is not the best way. Any circumstances from a pandemic or a war, we don't want these situations to come. But we are living in Kali Yuga. The situation is very uncertainty and it's full of misery. Like Krishna says, we're not going to get any ideal situation in this Kali Yuga in the material world. There's more likely there's going to be war, there's going to be problems. So, but at the same time, Krishna is very kind for those who really want to know more about life, why you are suffering, why these things come. So then the devotees are there to enlighten us. Like you said, Harinam, you got the time to read. So if we are searching for that, Krishna will give us enlightenment from within. He will send devotees to us who will give us more understanding why these things are happening. So, but we're not going to get a suitable situation in this world to make us Krishna conscious. But we have to look for it. Any situation we're put into, we have to look to use that circumstance, use that situation to become God conscious. But if we are in that consciousness to know about spiritual life, then we will use that circumstances to become Krishna conscious. But ideally, we can put into better situation, happy, like Krishna says, happiness or distress, lava, jaya, jaya, victory or gain. My devotees always serve me because they're well situated in knowledge. So any situation we put in, if we can learn to be above it, if we can be in the spiritual knowledge, then we're not affected by any of these things. That's just circumstances can become a tool for us to become more Krishna conscious if we are in that consciousness of upgrading our spiritual life, of learning from it. If it is helpful, if it is progressive, it will help us to be Krishna conscious. But first of all, we have to have spiritual knowledge to see those circumstances as Krishna's arrangements. Okay.
Good. Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you for the answer. Yes.
Okay.
We do not pray for wars. We do not pray for diseases, but when these bad things do happen, somehow other Guru and Krishna help their devotees to make good use out of the bad situation. Yes. Thank you so much. With that being said, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our dearest appreciation to our beloved uncle, great uncle, His Grace PRABHU, for taking this tapasya to be with us today, sharing his love and wisdom with us. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare,
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Vancha kalpa tarvidhyascha, kripa sindhudhyeva patitanam Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
All glories to His Grace Prabhu ki jai.
Jai.
Paristisha Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you.
Jai.
Hare Krishna.